Hi everyone! I am just about to invite Monique, and then we are going to talk about how Monique has played by her own rules like so many of our sariKNOTsari customers. Monique is a native of Hamilton who is a photographer and captures Hamilton in the most incredible ways. I'm just going to invite her right now. Thank you so much for joining. Let me invite our guest today. Just take a second. See if she pops up. Oh, there we go. She's here. She'll be here any second, everybody, and we're going to talk to Monique Campbell about how she plays by her own rules, like so many sariKNOTsari customers. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Monique, I think you should have an invitation there. I hope it's there. I hope it's there. Or maybe you can hit the plus button near the comment bar at the bottom. And I think that is a way that people can request being invited if the other way is not working. Because I saw that you were there. If I can try again. Sorry, where is the invite? I'm not really sure where it looks like on your end, except Monique, down at the bottom of the screen where it says comment, and then it has the ellipses, the 3 dots, right beside it is what looks like a video camera. It looks like a video camera, and you press the plus sign in the middle of the video camera, and that should allow you to join. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Jane. Hello, everybody. Hello, other Nancy. If that's not working, I don't know why. I'm going to try inviting you again. It said that you were unable to join, and I'm not sure why that happens. So I'm going to send another invitation. It could be if you're on, oh, yay! Okay. We did it. You're here. I see something. It's not you, but it's something.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not the most technical, so.
But you managed. Are you able to move the camera down just a smidge so that your face is a little bit more? Because
how's
the screen
that?
is split, and there we go. Perfect. So perfect. Thank you so much for joining me, Monique. Thank you so much. I know that it's the middle of the holiday season. And I'm just so excited for people who are part of the sariKNOTsari community to get a chance to meet each other somehow. And I feel like this is one of the ways we can do that. Now, Monique has been a customer at our store since we were across the street in our first location. I think you were probably started shopping.
I can tell you it was in February of 2019, just before a trip to go to Havana.
Oh, wow. And so you bought some clothes from us for travel. And you sent us some pictures, I remember. And I think your favorite.
Yes, I have that. And right now my favorite is the poncho. So, and if I may, I'm going to take a moment to share my camera. If you can see that, this is my new duster, the wool duster. So I've been wearing it to shows that I've been doing openings at.
I shared that I shared a picture off of your Instagram feed, and you're wearing that duster in it. That's one of your favorite pieces. I have the same one. Well, it's so nice for you to join us. So this segment is all about playing by your own rules. And so, Monique, how have you played by your own rules in your personal life or your professional life? How has that
for me, I got a letter in the mail from the government in 2019 that said, come and celebrate your mammogram, your 50th birthday with a mammogram. And about a year later, just shy of a few weeks of my 51st birthday, I went and got a mammogram, and that started my breast cancer journey. So for me, that was quite life-changing. And I ended up going through 4 failed reconstructive surgeries in the span of a week. And at the end of it, I said, I want everything off. And I became a flattie. And unfortunately, they didn't give me that option ahead of time. And so now I try to tell women that it's a choice, that you can be a flatty. And I just want to say out there to not only women, but men, to check yourself on the first, and to make that a part of your routine, because, you know, we're finding that more and more, especially women, are getting breast cancer at younger and younger ages. So go out there and get your mammograms. It saved my life. And, you know, all the ultrasounds and biopsies, whatever it needs, that go out and get that.
I feel so awful. I've had 2 reminders from the Ministry of Health that I need to get a mammogram, and now I'm
Take it.
thinking, yeah, I really should. I keep putting off making that
Take
appointment.
it
It's
from
ridiculous
me.
to put
They
it off.
found a 3-millimeter spot that I couldn't have detected by touch on a mammogram. They sent me for an ultrasound. They found another shadow. It took me 2 months to get a final diagnosis, and then everything happened so quickly. And like I say, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in Canada, and I'm just shocked and saddened that I'm one of 6 in my circle that has breast cancer. And I've come out on the other side after a bilateral mastectomy and the reconstructive surgeries that failed, and I'm thriving now. And I want to be part of that community that supports women, especially in this fight.
And I think that has a lot to do with what we talk about at sariKNOTsari as well, like that you've made a choice to play by your own rules. For, you know, forget what the doctors are doing with reconstructive surgery. You know what's right for you and your body and your future, and you've decided this is how I'm living the rest of my life. And you know, that's how I'm playing this game, by
Exactly.
my
And
own rules.
every woman has
And
their
I think
own journey, and no 2 breast cancers are the same. And this is my journey. This is the first time I've come out publicly and talked about it since my cancer diagnosis. And it feels right. It feels the time is necessary, because if I can influence just 1 woman to get checked, then, you know, I've done my job.
And it's so true when you talk about just so many people in your circle. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of 3 people who I come into contact with on a regular basis who found lumps. And one of them, my mother-in-law, actually, she's downstairs, she felt a lump, and she went to her doctor and said, I have this lump here. And the doctor just said, oh, I'm sure it's nothing, and didn't get it checked. And then she went back again for her regularly scheduled mammogram. They checked, and by then she
Wow.
was already stage 4. So in that small amount of time. So I guess what I'd like to add to what you're saying
Yes.
is trust your gut. If something's wrong, you know, get the mammogram, insist on it, insist on something, because, you know, the last thing you wanted to, if her doctor had listened to her, she may have caught it at stage
Right.
1 as
And
opposed to
I
stage 4.
follow a friend of mine
So
is Tina Martell. She's also on Instagram, not underscore in underscore the pink underscore. At any rate, she is an inspiration to me, and she's been modeling, and she is now going through another cancer, and it's a struggle, and I really take inspiration from her, and she has been very public and very encouraging to people to get checked. And I just want to say I'm fortunate that I'm 3.5 years, no evidence of disease, and I'm thriving. And I take, you know, I'm breaking the rules with living life to the fullest, living my best life every day. And I'm just thrilled
yeah,
that this year I exhibited my photography in 10 exhibitions. And I'm just absolutely thrilled. And I was also elected to become a member of the prestigious Ontario Society of Artists, and things are looking up. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a death sentence. A lot of women are affected by it, and you know, early detection is a key.
Yeah. And thank you so much for, I get so caught up in what you're saying, I forget to pause and say, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It is such a personal and I'm sure painful, emotional journey. And to be able to share that publicly, it takes a certain ability to hold in so much of it so that you can share
Right.
what people need to hear. So thank you for that. And thank you for telling us how it gave you the impetus to play by your own rules. Like when you tell me that you're in all of these exhibitions, now I follow you on Facebook and I keep seeing these exhibitions pop up and I'm like, wow, this lady has been doing a ton of expositions her whole life. I didn't realize that this was something new. So when did you start doing photography? Like, is that what you
I
primarily do
started,
now
when
is
I was
photography?
little, and I had the family 110 camera, and I went to photography school and had a career as a photojournalist. And then I went off and did wedding
Wow.
photography with my husband at the time. And back in 2016, I was really encouraged to do street photography after a trip to Amsterdam. And so I've been doing street photography
Mm.
both locally here in Hamilton and across the world and since then. And
Mhm.
I'm setting my own rules. I really enjoy street photography. I like to photograph all ranges of people, whether it's genders or trans or religious or, old people, young people, everybody in between.
Young people and
Yeah.
relationships as well, relationships to the environment, relationships. Now you have several Instagram accounts that document your photography. Now, one of them that I know of is called On Hands, on dot
Yes,
hands,
on hands
right?
dot by
Yes.
dot Monique. And my main Instagram feed is moments underscore by underscore Monique. And you'll find all the other feeds that I
Right.
have. It's quite a thing. I recently in 2021 met up with my friend Jane Gismondi, who is a street photographer in Vancouver, and she's just a dynamo. And
Uh-huh.
we were so inspired by each other that we started another Instagram feed called After Vivian, and we feature
Oh,
women street photographers who have come after Vivian Mayer as a way of, giving a tribute and celebrating Vivian Mayer and today's contemporary street photographers. So we're quite proud of that.
so for those people who don't know, myself included,
Vivian
who is
Mayer,
Vivian Mayer?
in a nutshell, was a photographer that was born in New York City. She went on to become a nanny in Chicago, and she would go out almost daily photographing the streets of Chicago. I have since learned that she did a lot of traveling herself and went across the states and into Europe. Her mother was originally from France. The long story short is that she was an incredible photographer, but she never exhibited. And it was in 2013. She had her storage lockers taken over by some men, and John Maloof being the main character. And he took on these photographs and essentially made her famous. And so it's a
Wow.
long story, but a great one if you're not familiar with Vivian Mayer. And so, like I say, Jane and I now champion her and women street photographers with their work by showing their work on our hub.
That's amazing. So it's
Yes,
called After Vivian,
also
and it's
on
also an
it's
Instagram
on
page, or is
Instagram.
it a website?
So we've been doing that since about
That and you're
2021. And for the most part, we've had hundreds and hundreds of new street photographers from around the world.
wow. Wow. So is it now, do you still do the air? Sorry, you didn't do air my
Yes,
laundry. My aunt did my air my laundry, right? Um, right. But you have also contributed to her feed from time to time with
yes.
your pictures of laundry. That's
So
why I'm getting it confused. Okay.
I have
So
this
actually,
whole
fun little,
series. I have many series, including on reading, on cafes, on, but one of my
Yes.
favorites, one of my earliest series that I started was on laundry. And I made an image
Yes.
of Mennonite laundry on the line, and I just kept looking for it
I've
over the
seen that
years.
one. Yes, that's amazing. Well, I find all of your art breathtaking. And what I find even more extraordinary about it is that you and I could be looking down the same street. And if somebody put a camera in my hand and I took a picture, and somebody put a camera in your hand and you took a picture, your picture would catch emotion. Your picture would catch a glimpse of a reality and of a connection and an interaction and a relationship between people and place and time. And mine would be a photo. And that's, I feel like, the incredible difference, that it's not just that you are able to click, click whatever clicking looks like nowadays. It's that you're able as an artist to see something that can evoke feelings in others, that you are capturing an opportunity for others to feel in a world where we don't spend a lot of time being in the present and looking and feeling and allowing that feeling to come through. It's almost like some of the images that you've captured of, especially even just people in Hamilton, where they're sitting on a bench, or someone's reading, a mother is reading to a child, or a young lady is sitting and reading. And I just think if I were walking by, I might cast a glance, right? And I'd be like, oh, reading. And then I look at your picture, and suddenly I feel like I understand so much more about the journey that led that person to that space. Like, your ability to capture a moment in time, and a moment that is so resonant with the human experience, is and I know you do pictures of buildings as well, and those are also extraordinary, and pictures of cars, but your ability to capture the human spirit is
Thank you so much for
astounding.
recognizing
Astounding.
that. And, I grew up with a mother who was in Belgium for World War II, and she was changed ever thereafter. And growing up with that, a distant relationship. And I also got into photojournalism, where I was chasing fire trucks and ambulances and trying to, make news. In 1994, I was awarded the runner-up Picture of the Year for Canadian Press for a firefighter
Wow.
writing, like he was reviving a little boy after the fire that he was just pulled out of. And that made the front page of the Sudbury Star. And then the next day, it made the front page of the Globe and Mail and went out across the country. And, so for moments like that, I've been ever changed. And, it really plays
Yes.
on your emotions, your empathy. And, so I take those experiences and I channel them when I'm out, doing photographs on the street.
I think you must have to, because there is something about your ability to capture the essence of a person that that must be somehow connected to some sort of empathic or empathetic ability on your part to see beyond what's just there to what is under there. And then, oh, somebody says love your work. Ron says she loves your work. They love your work. Um, but yeah, it's just spectacular. There was one picture that I saw of yours, and I can't remember what country it was in, but it was a woman on
Havana.
stilts, and she was walking. Oh my gosh, that picture, the strength and power of that woman above it all, having the time of her life, that just resonated with me so much. And this is what I'm talking about that human experience, where it's not just a lady on stilts. It is a lady embodying a feeling of being on top of the world, a feeling of being whole within yourself and untouchable. And that's what your picture conveyed. It wasn't just a picture of a lady on stilts. So so you say that you feel an empathic connection or an empathetic connection that resonates between your previous images and the images that you move into. Like, how do you know when a scene is something that
Well,
you
for
need
the
to
most
capture?
part, it's just a gut reaction. You know, I'm so in tune with my surroundings. You know, I'm always trying to be in the present moment and capturing what I see. And for the most part, the majority of people do not know that I've taken their picture, because I feel that it's capturing a moment, and I don't want to interrupt that. Now, sometimes, you know, people do say, oh, you took my picture, and I start up a conversation with them. Or, you know, I want the photograph desperately, and I know I can't get it candidly, so I will reach out to them, strike up a conversation, and make a portrait of them in such a case. And it's just a matter of, you know, training your eye visually. And you know, it takes, my motto really is practice, perseverance, and passion. And I use all three of those when I'm out making photographs.
Mm-hmm. So now, is this what, would you say this is your full-time?
Oh, no.
Like this is what you do?
Hardly.
Oh.
I do this on the side. I have a job, you know, at McMaster University, where I work with disabled people who are doing their exams. I'm an exam proctor. And so that's part-time job there. You know, I'm stringing them all together. But you know, I try to get out as much as I can out on the street, or, you know, out and about. I was happy this summer to get to Newfoundland, and you know, I just really enjoy traveling. And you know, I see a comment here. Has anyone ever objected to taking their photo? Interestingly, I haven't really had that experience. I was on the bus one time. I was making an image of a person reading on the back of the bus, and another person in front of them turned around and said, "Hey, she's taking your picture." And immediately I handed over my business card to the person. I explained that I had a show actually coming up at the time at the local public library about people on reading candidly in public. And the gentleman said, I'm not interested. So it was no problem. I put the camera down, and that image never saw the light of day. So for me, you know, it's all about how you know, treat people. And I use a lot of humor, you know, and I make it work for me. I don't take disparaging pictures. You know, I make a lot of pictures that are positive and that I put out into the world.
Yes, and that's what I've seen. They're very real. I actually wonder if sometimes people see pictures that you've taken and say to themselves, until I looked at your picture, I didn't know I was feeling that.
I don't know. I haven't had those kinds of conversations. I do know that in when in 2020, just after George Floyd was murdered, I went to a Black Lives Matter rally in Hamilton, and I looked around and I thought, what can I do differently? And I saw this man with two canes, and I immediately got in front of him. And when the organizers said, let's take a knee for George Floyd, everybody got down on their knee, including this man, and he put his canes in front of him, and he was on both of his knees. I made the image, I put it up onto my social media, and it was a girlfriend that said, hey, that's Leo, I know him. So I reached out to Leo, and we ended up going for coffee. We had a great exchange. I gave him the photo, and he's an incredible musician, songwriter, musician, plays the guitar, you name it. And I've since been out a number of times to photograph him in Hamilton, and I've become something of a manager of sorts. I'm always looking for places that he can play, and we've become great friends. So it's moments like that that really, you know, resonate with my heart.
So Pete here has commented, I learned from you that it's a good idea to use live
It's on the
view.
back of your
What's that?
camera. So if you have a digital
Oh,
camera, you have a
okay.
live view, and you can actually see what's going on. Now, for a lot of my images, I'm shooting blindly from my hip, literally my hip, where I hold my camera, and I'm making images while I'm out and about. And
I wondered about that. So you don't actually go like
I
hold it up
started
and
out
click. You're
to
just shoot,
I
literally
started out
shooting
to
from the
back
hip.
in 2016 when I had a really big DSLR camera, and I learned with that big camera how to be inconspicuous on the street. Now I just recently bought a Ricoh GR3 that is smaller than this. Like, it's a small camera, very inconspicuous, and that's how I really approach the street. I'm not usually putting it up to my eye these days, but if there is a really good picture that I want, I will put it to my eye and make sure I get the shot.
So do you spend a lot of time editing then? Because you're shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
So, you can't focus in on the right person. You're just like
Well, you
clicking and
have it
hoping,
in the
right?
general direction, and
Um,
yes, I'm a believer in editing post production.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
learned after studying the greats like Ansel Adams, who invented the zone
yes.
system, and he would do a lot of post production in the dark room, and so I believe that if you can enhance your image, I don't change the integrity of the picture, just the exposure, something like that.
Right.
And for me, I see it as a valuable tool in what I do.
So now I'm sure you've heard, sorry, there's so many people here. I think you must have so many friends, and everybody's like, I want to join in this too. Oh, there we go. Now I can see your whole face. Um, so what I was going to ask you was, have you heard,
Yes.
obviously, of Humans of New York? So I feel when I look at the pictures that you capture, that they have the same ability to catch the essence of a person. Have you ever considered doing a little interview of the people you take a picture of and sharing who they are the same way
Well,
Humans of
that's
New York
the
does?
odd thing about me, is that even though I'm an extrovert and I like to hit the streets and take pictures, I'm really kind of shy and introverted that way. I know I have in the past struck up conversations with people when I'm on travels, and have made photographs of them and great connections. But generally speaking, when I'm out there, I'm a little bit shy, and I really have to stretch myself and push myself to actually strike up those conversations. And I wish I could do that a little more, because there's a lot of interesting people out there. The Humans of New York is a fabulous series that he has done, and when I put my Humans of Hamilton, it's just not quite the same, because mine are all
I,
candid.
I don't know. Yeah, but yes, yours are candid, but I feel like the people who you see through your lens,
Yeah.
I feel like they have a story. And I feel like the story is interesting. And it's like you've given me the title of the book and you've given me the first chapter. And I'm like, I
And
need
that's
to
the
delve into
beauty of
this.
street
Um,
photography. And I really like to look for characters out on the street and give them a voice. And
yes.
a good street photograph, in my opinion, is one that asks questions, and makes you stop and linger and look at a picture, think of it for yourself, and discover it.
And that is exactly how I feel when I look at your art. I feel like, it's not just a girl kind of reclined against a window reading a book. It's a moment in that person's life, and you really do feel that sense that you're peeking into somebody's world. And I guess that's what the street photography is all about, right? Is catching glimpses, just immortalizing a moment in time that's so random, but has so much more going for it. And so I also wanted to talk about your building, your architectural photography. Now you did a picture, was it St.
No,
Paul's Cathedral?
I do a little bit.
Which
I
is
do a
the
little bit of
cathedral, the one that you
architecture
have?
photography, but not as much. One
Which is the one that I'm thinking of, the one with the domed church?
that
Was
was
that Montreal?
actually Paris, from a number of years ago. Back in
I thought so.
2018, I had a color photograph of
Okay.
two buildings in shadow with a domed church in behind. So I do, I like,
Yes.
I'm a generalist. I like, a number of genres of photography. And right now, this past year, I've really started to develop my nostalgia series, which is finding random vehicles that have been abandoned,
Yes.
vintage cars, that I discover. And, it's a great series for me, trying to capture the light and the nostalgia of, an old car in its current, environment.
We have a question here. Thank you, Monique. A question. Often it feels like street photography is more a male domain. What are the advantages or disadvantages of being a woman in this field? That's a great question.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
These are
Well,
great questions.
I can only speak from my perspective as a woman. I think maybe perhaps it is easier for me as a woman to go out on the street. I've talked to a number of men that it's not as easy for them, especially if they're around families or with children. I try to be conscious of that. But again, I find for myself, it's really how you approach street photography. And if you are approached by a person that you're photographing, the best case, whether you're a man or a woman, hand them that business card, which really legitimizes you. And, a little humor, a little context, explain with enthusiasm what you're trying to do. And the majority of times, the people understand. So I haven't really been side by side to know, is it different for a man or a woman? I only know my experience.
Mm-hmm. I would think so, and so many times it's difficult to be a woman because, sometimes you have to watch over your shoulder and, you can't really focus in on one thing because you have to have your eyes swiveling around you just at certain times of day. But yeah, I never thought of the disadvantage for an ordinary male who would just be like, all I want to do is take your picture, and everybody's like, get me out of here. There's some
Right.
stranger with
Well,
a camera.
I don't do a lot
And
of
that would, I
night
could,
photography. Maybe when I travel and I'm out with somebody else, I'm pretty limited, on my night photography. And, I'm very conscious of, being out as a woman on the street. So I guess there would be that difference as well.
so you're working on your nostalgia series right now. You are continuing with
Yes.
your on
On
hands.
reading,
Right. You're doing your street.
on reading as well.
So, and on reading. Yeah. So what's next? You've got a lot of things kind of going.
Yeah.
You said you're a generalist. Where do you
Well,
see yourself headed?
currently there is a art call for the Propeller Gallery in Toronto. And
Okay. Oh, I think you're frozen. So I think what you said was that there is an art crawl for the Propeller Gallery in Toronto. You're still buffering a little bit here. So we just have to wait a second. Looks like there's a question. What's this? Oh, how do you deal with getting photo releases? Oh, I thought I saw a question pop up. So right now you're frozen. I'm hoping that you'll come back into focus soon. Oh, we lost you, but maybe you'll come back in. Let me invite you again because I think that that is a really good question. Okay, I need to go here and I need to invite you, invite, and let's see if we can get you back in here. Or you can press that little camera down at the bottom that has the plus sign in it. And the question that we were just asked, we actually have two questions on the go right now. So one of them is, what's next for Monique? And the other one is, how do you deal with getting photo releases? So let's see if Monique's phone is back up yet. If in the meantime there's any other questions you would like to ask, I'm glad to see so many photographers here because I'm very much out of my depth. All I know is when I see talent, and I don't know how that final product becomes so brilliant. I just know that it's the person between the camera and the event that has created this emotion. So hopefully requested. Okay, let's see. Go live. Let's see what happens. Accept. Accept again. Okay, so I don't know if you can see me, Monique. I am getting a request for you to join me, but when I go in, I see your request to join and I hit accept and nothing happens. So I'm going to see if I can invite you and if that makes a difference and see if you can see something on your end. Send the invite again, please. Okay, let's do this. Invite. Done. Let's see if we can get you back. Oh, hi, Mary. So for those of you who are wondering what's going on, we're having an it says that you're unable to join, Monique. I think there might be something wrong with your Wi-Fi or your phone. So I'm going to send you yet another invite. Let's see if we can get you this time. Oh, I don't even think you're online anymore. Maybe you're restarting your phone. Okay, I've just sent you an invitation. So we are having a chat with Monique Campbell, who is a street photographer. Hey, we got you back!
Technology
Yay!
is a wonderful thing when it works. There we go. So did you see my last, when I held up my art? No. Okay,
no,
so
we missed all of that. So the last thing, we were talking about where you were headed next in your journey. And then there was also a question that someone had about how do you go about securing releases, photo releases. So those are the two things. But
okay, I'll come to that in just a second. I just want to get this on there. I'm breaking the rules because Propeller Gallery in Toronto is calling out for artwork that is unconventionally framed. So I took up the challenge. I'm breaking the rules, and I'm taking my photo of Mennonite dresses on the line that I had made decades ago, and I'm putting it onto a washboard that I bought at,
so clever.
You know, I bought this at the Hamilton Antique Market on Ottawa Street. And so, like I say, it's just a unconventional way to show my work. And again, another one of my series on laundry. So I'm looking forward to that.
Pete, I see a message here saying that I'm pixelated. Am I still pixelated?
You're fine with me.
Or can you see both of us?
Maybe when you froze.
Okay, that's good. Oh, yeah, I think we had some freezing issues. So okay, so that's where you're headed next, and you're moving towards you're gonna try to get into this Propeller
Gallery in Toronto.
Gallery.
You know, I've got a couple of things on the burner. I want to apply to the Kitchener City Hall Rotunda Gallery with my Mennonite photographs that were made in Waterloo region. That's coming up. The deadline is in April, so I'll be working towards that. My work is going to be shown in January at the Visual Arts Mississauga, and I'm happy about that. Their call was, why do you create? And it's again about what we've been talking about tonight. And you know, I'm just thrilled to be a part of that. And one last plug that I want
when you have
to get in is
Okay.
that my work is now being shown and for sale at Unperfect Studios. Wendy Campbell is a fellow artist and friend, and she has just opened up at the Hamilton Farmers Market. And she is not only
Oh,
showing
nice.
her work, but other artists, including mine. And so I finally have a brick and mortar store to direct people to for my work. So I'm thrilled about that.
Oh, that's very exciting. There was a question. Somebody was asking, how do you go about getting photo releases from
Actually,
people on the street? And thank you so much,
yeah,
Eye of the Street, for liking
actually,
Sorry Not Sorry.
I don't get releases. You know, I don't engage in people, and for I don't sell my work commercially. So I don't approach Coca-Cola and try to sell them my image. That would be a no-no. So for my images, I'm all right to exhibit, you know, to put them out there and to sell one-ofs, but I'm not selling it commercially. So I don't necessarily go out there and ask for photo releases.
So if you took a picture and it resonated so deeply with people, that it becomes, let's say it goes viral, and somehow there's an opportunity for you to monetize that, but you don't have the photo release, would that stop you from being able to monetize the
I
image
really
that you took?
haven't explored that because none of my work has gone viral, and I'm not about to release it commercially. Um,
Right.
and that's the sticky point. You know, we have a lot of copyright issues. The copyright is mine when I make make an image on
Yeah.
the street, but I'm not about
Right.
to sell it. Now, back in
Right.
2021, an international hotel chain in Waterloo region took one of my photographs of Mennonite children playing. I asked them privately to take it down, but they dismissed me. And so it was a lot of anxiety, but I found a way through Instagram because I had my copyright on the actual image. And I wrote to them and I said, you know, I don't have model releases. I never intended this to publicize or sell your hotel. I want it taken down. And they ignored that. Finally, I was able to go to Instagram and show them that, hey, look, my copyright is there. I don't authorize them to use my photograph to sell their hotel, and Instagram made them take it down. So that's not my
That's
intention,
great.
was to photograph these children to sell a hotel property. So there's that side of
Right.
the history as well. But again, I really try to show people in a good light. And you know, if I'm photographing people experiencing homelessness, the majority of the time I'm not showing their identity. I'm still trying to get the word out
Right.
about the issue. I think, you know, here in Hamilton and many cities across Canada, US, the world really have issues with people experiencing homelessness. And I think it is important to get that issue out.
I feel like you must be a mentor for many because there are some questions coming up here. Have you done editorial, and is having your name or signature on an image sufficient for copyright?
Well, this is a whole area that, you know, we could spend hours on. I used to put my copyright on images, and then I got away from it. You know, now I just put it in my profile. I try to be, you know, protect my images, but really, I couldn't fight the international hotel chain with even a cease and desist letter from a lawyer because it was too cost prohibitive. So really, you've got to fight your battles, and you know, that's really, you know, I try to protect it with a copyright, but you know, if somebody is bound and bent to get your image and steal it, they will, kind of thing. So my way of combating that is just by making more images.
So 2 more questions. We still have you, that was a great answer, by the way, because I was thinking the same thing. Okay, so have you done editorial? And then I think this one is about for the Propeller Gallery. Are you framing each image with an object that's related to each picture, or are you just sending the one
Well,
in for now?
to answer that one first, the Propeller Gallery is asking for 2 pieces of art. So I have that one that I showed, plus another one of Mennonite dresses on a front of a house. And so I will be putting those 2 in for that. Now for the Kitchener City Hall Rotunda Gallery, I am hoping that I will have enough washboards and images from my On Laundry series to put up a 48-foot wall of these images. So, you know, it's that. So if you're interested, check out the Propeller Gallery. It's the deadline is January 4th if you're so interested in applying for that. And the other question? Yes, I started out. Have you done it? I went to the Western Pacific Academy of Photography out in Victoria back in, and I graduated, and my first job was at the Moose Jaw Times Herald, and I worked there as a staff photographer for a couple of years. Then I moved up to Sudbury, where I, you know, was freelancing. And that's when I got the Canadian Press runner-up picture of the year back in 1993-94. And so, yes, I have done some editorial. I moved down from Sudbury to Kitchener-Waterloo, and because their newspaper was unionized, unfortunately, I couldn't get in to work at the newspaper. So I kind of drifted off into the wedding photography, and now I've really come onto my own, because now since 2016 I'm really photographing for myself, and I'm doing projects that I'm passionate about, and it, you know, it's been a world of difference for me.
Well, and that's just more playing by your own rules, right? Finding your passion, like everything that you're talking about in relation to your photography, you know, being passionate about what you do, following your own direction about where you want this to go, seeing what you see and living in the moment, and being able to identify a moment as something that is more than what it just looks like, that it has some added depth to it. I hate to turn it back to talking about Sorry Not Sorry, but it kind of makes you the ideal customer, because it really does speak to a shared set of values. And the reason that I do these lives is because there are so many customers, community members like you, who are doing all of these amazing things, who are following their passion, who are seeing the world in new ways, who are experiencing self-care by allowing themselves the time to live in the moment. And those people also seem to resonate with Sorry Not Sorry. So it just feels like such a great fit. And I hope for those of you who are watching, because I feel like I should wrap this up. I told you it was going to be a half an hour, and I feel like
I want to jump in. I want to jump in and make a point.
Yes.
Since shopping at Sorry Not Sorry and discovering you in 2019, I've been exclusively shopping there for my outfits, to go to gala openings, to, you know, boxy tops that I wear, you know, in the summertime and every day. And I love the fact that they fit me, that they're artistic. You know, when I go out, I want to look artistic, and it's part of my nature. And the pieces that I pick definitely do that for me. And I'm not doing this for complimentary clothing or a cash payout. I just love Sorry Not Sorry and you, Priya, so much that I'm happy to be here to share my story, and I'm just passionate about it.
Well, thank you so much. You are such a perfect example of the type of community that I'm fortunate enough to experience through just opening this storefront. I feel like a world of community, incredible people have come literally to my doorstep, and I get to engage with them and share in the exciting things that they're doing and share their passion. And I've definitely felt that way with you. That, and it's funny, I meant to say earlier that it's almost like we were destined to meet, because you know my aunt in Victoria, which is crazy. Like, what a
And
small
I went
world
out
is
to
that,
visit
that
Anu
you
when we
know her.
went to Victoria back in 2021, and we had a wonderful breakfast together. And meeting people through
Yeah.
Instagram, it's just a thrill in that case. Instagram's a lot of things, but when you can actually meet people and have that relationship, it's just special.
Yeah. And that's what she was doing, was she was sharing laundry photos, and you were taking laundry photos, and the two of you connected. And then we found out that that you and I and her,
Right.
that we all knew each other. It was like so crazy. But thank you so much for everything. Thank you for being one of our most loyal customers. Thank you for appreciating the brand. Thank you for taking pictures of James Street North and putting them out there and letting everybody see the humans of Hamilton. Just everything about what you do and the passion you bring to it and the authenticity you bring to it. There's no pretense with you. It's, this is what I want to see. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to play games around it. And it's so refreshing and real. And I really appreciate that you took the time to
Well,
have this
thank you
conversation with
so
me
much. I
tonight.
really appreciate it. And thank you all for coming. I've got a lot of friends here tonight, and I really appreciate you
You
coming out to
do.
supporting me. And yes, if I can end on the message that go out and check yourself on the first and really look after yourself. Thank you so much
Yes.
again.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely so much. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for joining. Have a lovely evening. Bye.